Sorry about that. There's a little hiccup there in my video. Welcome. Good morning. Hi, Randy Lover here, Growth Marketing Manager at Action Benefits, and pleased to welcome you to today's session where we'll talk about how to keep your success from AEP and OEP rolling forward by using first quarter follow-ups to your advantage. Throughout today's session, I'll be flying solo here today, so anything you need to say or there are questions you have, please put them directly down in the Q&A feature down below. It'll give me a big red flash notification, lets me know there's something that needs my attention or something that needs some further discussion, and I'll be happy to answer that as soon as possible throughout the presentation. But let's talk about how to keep that success rolling. Your business isn't won, or your year rather isn't won or lost here in the first quarter, but we can put yourself on the way to success for the remainder of the year in building client loyalty and retention. So the question I have for you all, get you kind of in the mood, get you thinking about where we want to be here today is this. What percentage of your clients currently hold multiple policies with you? And don't go like crunch a bunch of numbers by hand, just kind of what's your gut feeling on that. And what percentage of your clients would you like to hold multiple policies with you? Take a few moments, put a few numbers here in the chat for us. We'll see what we're thinking, and then we'll move forward. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Terry, as well, for sharing your thoughts here. Remember, you can always choose to, using the blue caret on the drop down in the chat window, to choose whether everyone sees your responses or just me here today, because I am both the host and panelist. But some of you are saying, oh, 20, maybe 30% hold multiple policies with me, maybe because I work in multiple lines of business. But chances are all of you that are weighing in here have said you'd like 100% of your clients to have multiple policies with you, right? Because the more policies they have with you, the harder it is to leave you. And that also means you're serving their needs. And frankly, you are earning more commission when you serve those clients here as well. So if we want to work toward closer to that 100% of clients or 80% of clients, or even 1% more than you have today, having multiple policies with you, that's where we want to get to by using our first quarter follow-ups as a vehicle. So what we want to accomplish today is two things. First, we want to make sure we structure those follow-up appointments for success, to make sure you are kind of tilling the soil for adding on multiple policies or recommending multiple policies where appropriate for your clients and their needs, and also give you some tools for doing that here as well. Second thing we want to do is here, we're toward the end of first quarter, toward the end of MAOEP and some other enrollment periods that you might have going on here too. So if you don't already have follow-up appointments on the books with your clients, we'll share some strategies for scheduling those follow-ups. So you can reach out to your clients, make sure they're well taken care of, and provide better protection for them and more income for you. Whoa, sorry about that. So let's talk about that follow-up appointment and those three key ingredients that we see and we have learned are essential to having success there. The first ingredient is, as my computer cooperates here, is this is a great opportunity to confirm plan materials and understanding. So you'll want to check in with folks. Did they receive their ID cards? Did they receive all those plan materials, so on and so forth? You also want them to spend some time affirming that enrollment decision, connecting them, reinforcing the great choice they made during enrollment season, and also building their trust in you. The third thing we want to do is, we know every major medical plan, no matter what market you're working in, does have some potential coverage gaps or some potential out-of-pocket exposure for your clients. So we want to spend some time thinking about how we can present some solutions to close those gaps here as well. So we're going to start with the easy stuff, and we're going to start with confirming those plan materials. You'll want to make sure and ask your clients whether or not they've received their ID cards, and not just ID cards, but if they have flex or spending or OTC cards associated with their plan, or do they receive, if their HSA has a debit card associated with it, so they can withdraw funds directly from that. Do they receive that? Do they have all the things they need to use the coverage they purchased in the fall? Did they receive their welcome kits? Like, the carrier's welcome kit, do they have information about value-added programs or all the other benefits embedded in their plan outside of that core medical coverage with co-insurance and co-pays and so on and so forth? And did they get their welcome calls? So maybe in a D-SNP plan, they'd be getting calls from their care coordinator or a welcome call from the plan. Or maybe depending on what programs they're eligible for, maybe they're in a plan with diabetes support. Did they get a call from Livongo or Teladoc or someone else, right? Whatever vendor the carrier is using to support that particular need, are they getting acquainted with those extra benefits embedded in those plans? And if the answer is yes, your clients have received all those, that's great news, right? You're following up and you're helping them use the coverage that they bought in the fall. If not, you've got a service request you can begin working on right away, and one that you wouldn't have known about without either this follow-up appointment or follow-up call. And when you're doing that kind of follow-up, that kind of proactive outreach, you're working to cement that client relationship. You're demonstrating your commitment to serving them beyond just enrollment season, and that's going to make them more sticky, right? They're going to keep coming to you for help with all their health coverage needs. No matter what the answer is, whether they did receive all these things or they didn't receive all those things, the fact that you're following up helps to build trust for what's going to come later in this appointment. You also want to spend some time, assuming that the plan is working and functioning as it should, you want to spend some time, helping them realize what a great decision they made in choosing that plan and in choosing you to help them find that plan. So you might say, show them how their benefits influence the decision, right? As you did your discovery calls, maybe, or discovery conversations, you realize that maybe there's a major surgery coming up, or yes, they live with diabetes and they're trying to figure out how to manage that even better. So if you can highlight how some of those benefits influence their decision and help them use the benefit in this follow-up conversation, that is a great step for you and for them. So you could say something like, this plan comes with Livongo, a great solution for managing your diabetes supplies. Let me show you how to order those. Or you could say something like, you said in our appointment earlier that you need help with light household work. I mean, it's tough for you to get around, take care of everything around the house, laundry or cleaning, so on and so forth. Remember that this plan comes with X, Y, or Z hours of companion care that can help with some of those chores, transportation, or even just giving you someone to talk to. Do you have that number on hand? Can I help you make your first appointment? Or maybe when we talked, you mentioned that you have a major surgery coming up. And it's important to you that you have lower hospital copays and some support during recovery. This plan has an X dollar copay, whatever X is, and will deliver Y meals for Y being the number of meals, for 2 weeks after discharge. Let me show you how to request that benefit when the time comes. And with any of those examples or any other example it is that you can think of, you're showing two things. You're showing your care for the client and your knowledge, right? You're showing that I know these products, I know how to use them well, and I know how you can get the most out of them. And that puts some more deposits in your trust account for that third step in the process where we'll kind of look at some additional solutions. But before we get there, I want to check in with you all. What do you see as some benefits that commonly drive decisions for your clients, whether they're enrolling in an under 65 plan or a Medicare plan, or even a group plan for that matter? And how about you bring them up inside a conversation like this one? Take a few moments, put your thinking in the chat, and we'll circle up here in 30, 60 seconds or so. For a lot of folks on under 65 plans, I see this coming up here in the chat, that those maternity benefits, the maternity support, whether it's Priority Mom or Blue Cross's partnership with Maven, they're providing that can make a bit of a difference, right, in enrolling, especially if the family is expecting soon. So showing them how to use and access those benefits can be another great way to enter the conversation here. Great addition to the conversation. Thank you for sharing that. So if we're building that trust, we're going forward, we've checked in, made sure they have their benefits, their coverage is working. We've talked about, Miss Smith, you made a great decision, and let me show you how to use the benefits embedded in the plan here. Let's get to the hard stuff. And the hard stuff is, where you're going to maybe make a slight withdrawal from that trust account, but to provide some better solutions and better coverage for your clients, because we know that plans have gaps. And no matter what kind of plan it is, whether it is a Medicare Advantage plan, an under 65 plan, a group health plan, every major medical plan has a gap that can expose your client's finances. If you're on an under 65 plan and maybe it's a family of 3, family of 4, family of 6, what have you, no one wants to pay $18,000 before their coverage does anything for them, right? No one wants to have that deductible and the out-of-pocket max really working against them before they get any real meaningful benefit from the plan. So deductibles are something your clients are absolutely concerned about. Out-of-pocket maximums or MOOPs, depending on which market you're working in. And I don't know why we just can't agree on one thing to call it. But same thing, right? Whatever the max is they'll spend throughout the year, clients get concerned about that too, especially as MOOPs and OOPMs continue to climb upward. And certainly clients get concerned about copays and coinsurance. You mean to tell me I'm paying $450 a month for my individual plan, or even more than that? For me, I have a $9,000 deductible, and even after I meet that deductible, I still have copays and coinsurance. How does anybody afford that? And the answer is, in many cases, that ancillary products or supplemental products can help fill those gaps. We're going to talk a little bit about 4 products in particular that we here at Action Benefits support. We'll show you a little bit about how you can present those and kind of figure out what kind of audiences might be a good fit for each of these. So we'll talk a little bit today about accident policies, critical illness policies, which support recovery from heart attack, stroke, and cancer. We'll talk a bit about hospital indemnity as well as short-term care policies too, to round out these suites here. What we should point out about all of these and why right now in the first quarter is a good fit for this conversation is any of these products can be sold year round. So you could call someone up in June, call someone up in August, call someone up in December, call someone any time of the year, and present and sell these products. The only caveat we should mention though is if you do happen to present these or want to present these in an appointment for a Medicare Advantage client or Medicare PDP client, that they do have the ancillary products box checked on their scope of appointment. That said, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about those products, who they're a fit for, what they do, and how you might bring them up in the course of these conversations. We're going to start first with accident policies. And I would like you to use that raise hand feature down at the bottom of your screen if any of these apply to you. Raise your hand or use the raise hand feature if you've ever sprained an ankle, broken a wrist, cut your hand while chopping vegetables in the kitchen, or had a kid injured during a city league soccer game or any other kind of athletic competition. Go ahead and use that raise hand feature if that is true for you or any of those are true for you. And a quick mental maths tells me that about 55% of you have had that experience or one of those experiences, and the rest of you might be lying or not paying attention. But whatever the case might be, we know that accidents can happen everywhere. So, and your clients are at risk of accidents happening everywhere too. So an accident policy generally could be a good fit for them. What these policies do is, depending on the structure and the plan design, they either provide a defined benefit schedule. So a broken ankle will give you X amount of dollars, a cut on your hand will give you Y amount of dollars. And some other plans instead provide a benefit bank that your clients can draw on to reimburse themselves for any costs that they incur related to an accidental injury. Your client's core medical plan, their risk tolerance, and budget will determine what plan and what benefit level, of course, is the best fit for them. And your account management team at Action Benefits here can help you really pair some of those products together. But why you want to present these, what's in it for your client, why do they want to shell out, or why might they want to shell out a little bit more every month for this kind of protection? Well, it's because their core medical plan is going to cover them as designed. But you know as well as I, they're going to be on the hook for things like copays, coinsurance, deductibles, and we haven't even talked about possible lost wages or transportation or who's cutting the lawn while I'm laid up with a broken leg or a sprained ankle or whatever the case might be. So we can offset some of those kind of indirect costs of the injury here as well. So the accident policy, what it does when it pays out, because they're indemnity style plans, it really helps them provide the buffer to address both those direct medical costs, but also the indirect costs associated with whatever injury they might have. So how do you bring it up? One question that we've heard agents use with a great degree of success is, what cash do you have on hand, or what resources do you have on hand to meet that deductible? So Ms. Smith, Mr. Smith, this plan has a $9,000 deductible, a $5,000 deductible. What resources do you have on hand to meet that? If you want to take that a little bit further, the cash price for surgery to repair a broken bone is somewhere right now between $17K and $35K, depending on what bone you break and what part of the country you're being served in. So we know negotiated rates for those surgeries are probably a bit below that, but we haven't even talked about physical therapy or lost income or any of those things just yet. So it's really exceedingly likely that for less than whatever that costs, right? Less than the cost of the surgery, plus recovery, plus PT, plus time off work, they can pay that annual premium for an accident policy and make back at least what they would have made on their deductible, depending on the benefits that they choose to purchase for the accident policy. So it's a really nice way to protect themselves from these deductibles and out-of-pocket maxes that keep climbing higher, higher, higher over time. But of course, not every time you end up in the hospital is because you made a mistake or suffered some kind of accident. Critical illnesses and diseases can put your clients in the hospital as well. So critical illness policies are a great fit for anyone that has a risk factor for some of these named dread diseases, things like heart attack, stroke, or cancer. In other words, almost anyone could be a good fit for these plans. Issue ages do range from 18 through 90, depending on the carrier, but probably your prime audience is people around my age group, right? People who are maybe established, right? Maybe they have young families or growing families they're taking care of here, and they really want to think about how they might replace or supplement their income should one of these diseases happen and they're out of work and unable to earn for a bit of time. So what these policies do is, depending on the policy and specific plan design, is they offer a payout, a lump sum payout for the first diagnosis or the instance of the disease. So if you've got a heart attack, you can have up to $50,000 to help you recover from that. You've got a stroke, up to $50,000 to help recover from that for both your indirect or direct costs. And again, that payment is a lump sum directly to your client. Carriers don't care how they use it. So you can use it to pay the medical bills. You can use it to, pay for someone to walk FIDO or to board FIDO while you're unable to take care of them. And again, depending on the carrier you choose or your client chooses, riders can boost those benefits. You can add child coverage on here. You could add a return of premium. So if you're lucky enough to make it to 85 without having any of these things happen to you, you could have all that premium returned, which is a fantastic benefit. Or you can add on coverage for other conditions, again, depending on the carrier you're interested in. Why might your clients be looking at these plans? Well, because when they're treated in the emergency room, for example, the average heart attack instance costs about $5,800 out of pocket. And those costs, of course, will vary depending on the core medical plan. But again, we know that the costs don't stop, when they're discharged from the emergency room or discharged from the hospital stay. There's going to be cardiac rehab. There's going to be follow-up care. I got to see my cardiologist a few times to make sure I'm on the up and up here, or for my cancer treatments, or for my stroke rehab and things like that. The benefits from a plan like these critical illness plans can help offset some of those costs or all of those costs if your clients incur them. How do you bring it up in a conversation? Well, one of two ways. Tell me about your plans if you have a major illness, or who was your cancer policy with? Depends again on your personal sales approach. Sometimes that second question or that second option is kind of like the would you like fries with that? That McDonald's or someone else gives you. Just kind of a matter of fact presentation, like this is something you can consider, Miss Jones or Miss Smith or Mr. Smith. Really makes it feel like a commonplace thing. And yes, we know cancer can be an uncomfortable conversation, But 1 in 3 Americans will face that diagnosis at some point in a lifetime. And it's a great opportunity for you to build value for both for your client in that relationship when you are offering the ability to protect themselves from some of those costs. Let's also take a brief crash course with hospital indemnity products rather. These products fit best for your clients who are enrolling in either zero or low premium Medicare Advantage plans, but depending on the carrier you choose to partner with or choose to present, issue ages can vary between 18 and 85. Some carriers will start their issue age range at 40 or so. Again, really depends on their specific product design. But one thing you should be aware of, though, is many carriers have guaranteed issue periods on their products, generally between 64.5 through 70. Some carriers do go a little wider. Wellaby is a great one to have in your back pocket as clients continue to age, and maybe they've been in a med sup for a while, and finally the premium hikes break the camel's back, so to speak, and they go back to a Medicare Advantage. On a Wellaby plan, you can have guaranteed issue up to age 79, which is a great asset for your clients who might find themselves in dire circumstances or changing circumstances as they live onward. What these plans do is they make your clients whole for their hospital copays on those Medicare Advantage plans. We've seen this year, in some cases, Medicare Advantage inpatient hospital copays can go as high as $425, $525 per day. A lot of your clients probably would rather spend that money elsewhere, not in shelling that out to the hospital or to the insurer, as the case might be. Additional riders for these can add coverage for ambulance trips. You can add riders for outpatient therapy or even lump sum payments for first diagnosis of any type of cancer, right? So kind of combining some of the protection we talked about earlier to, again, help protect your clients from some of those things that might come their way. And again, here, the benefit is that your clients can offset those hospital costs as well as their indirect costs. Again, these are indemnity style benefits, which means the carrier is going to just cut a lump sum check. If you're in the hospital for 5 days, we're going to cut you 5 days of your benefit amount, whatever it is you chose here. That money can be used for the copays. You can even write it for more than the hospital copay and put a little spending cash to help take care of some of those indirects in your client's pockets as well. Which is a really beautiful benefit to these plans. It really helps to give them flexibility in how they choose to recover, so they can spend their time on recovering, right? And not figuring out how they're going to come up with, 400 times 6 days in the hospital or 7 days in the hospital, the $2,400, the $2,800 copay when they do visit the hospital. How you do that for a benefit like this, it really helps to put the core medical coverage and the possible benefits from the hospital indemnity coverage side by side. We do provide some tools to our agents, which you are welcome to use. This is what we affectionately call the short form worksheet, where we put some of the common health benefits from their health plan here and the common ancillary benefits that one might see on a hospital indemnity plan side by side. So if your hospital confinement daily copay was $350 for 6 days, maybe we want to write them a little bit more. Maybe they spend a little bit longer in the hospital for $375 in 10 days. That's a possibility here. We can otherwise match up benefits as we so choose. But the important thing here is for whoever my client happens to be, your core health plan has a premium of $0, but for $44.25 a month, we can make sure, should the worst occur, Ms. Smith, that you can get a maximum payout of $10,950 from this plan to help offset whatever your maximum potential expenses could have been under that plan, moops notwithstanding. So the neat thing about a worksheet like this is, should you use what we provide to you here, and we'll put your logo on it and your contact information on it if you so choose. It does the math for you, helps your clients really see the value of what those benefits might be. Again, at a reasonable cost, $44-ish a month, maybe a bit more depending on what riders you add. I also know that you have clients that love to get down deep in the weeds with you and want to see every benefit side by side. And how can I make the most of my coverage here and work it out? We have a long form worksheet too that we're happy to customize for you. Put your brand, your logo, and your information in down here, and really show them what their medical plan does and some additional services here, and shows them all the possible riders they might add. And again, if the absolute worst happens in a calendar year, based on some of the policy maximums associated with some of these plans, your clients could make up to $31,950. I had to tilt over to look at the screen for a minute. Your clients could put 32 grand in their pocket, even if they have a $7,000 MOOP here, right? Or whatever the case might be. So there's opportunity to help your clients out with those both direct and indirect costs of recovery. Short-term care should also not be overlooked. It's a close match for the elderly, but oftentimes people need short-term care for any number of reasons. Maybe there is a stroke or something else that renders them unable to perform 2 or more activities of daily living. You're bathing, toileting, dressing, so on and so forth. And so what these policies do is provide coverage for up to a calendar year of that in-home care if 2 or more ADLs can't be performed. And again, there's lots of additional riders you can tack on for additional protection for your clients here. Why your clients might want to consider this, and especially your clients who might be at stroke or heart attack risk and might need this in-home care later on, is the average cost for a home health aide per year is about $56,000. The average cost of a short-term policy is far less than that. So you can really, provide some protection there, especially if that, event might come to pass. So what you could say in that appointment is, who do you have to take care of you if you can't take care of yourself? Some of your clients might say, oh, my family lives close by, my son, my daughter lives close by, they can step in. That's an option. Or maybe my neighbors will come over, or family and friends will come over and help take care of me. And that may be true. But also we know that a lot of folks, especially as they age or they're aging in place, that loneliness becomes a concern, and that social disconnection becomes a concern for them here as well. So having short-term care protection and someone to help take care of them when they can be an excellent way to provide more value to your clients and protect them from some of those unexpected costs that might arrive from short-term care. Want to do a quick check-in with you real quick. Want you to think for a moment about the current makeup of your book of business and think about what ancillary product or products could be a good fit for the greatest percentage of your clients. And the reason I ask you to think about, just one product or the majority of your clients here is because learning all these products at once is tough to do. I just gave you a crash course in about, 12 minutes or so. Putting them all together is kind of tough to do. Better to become a master at one thing than try to become a master of everything all at once. So that said, do a little bit of thinking for me real quick. Think about the current makeup of your book and think about which product that we might have just discussed could be a good fit for a good chunk of your clients. And go ahead, please, and put that answer in the chat. Some of you who are Medicare focused, generally, they're saying, oh, hospital indemnity could be a good fit. 1 or 2 of you is under 65 focused, looking at maybe a combination of the accident and critical illness policies, which can both be a great fit, right? For all of the major reasons, you might hit that $9,000 deductible or that $9,000 out-of-pocket max. If you're covering both accident and critical illness at reasonable rates, that can provide some great protection for those folks going forward. So we're here in the middle of March, quickly, early March here. It's only March 6th, not yet the middle of March, but we're close to the middle of March here. And by the time you get your clients, across the table or on the phone, could be later in the month here. If you don't already have those follow-up appointments scheduled, want to talk through what it could look like to help you get that follow-up appointment scheduled in the next month or so here. First things first, though, what I should say is the best time to schedule your follow-up appointments, though, is at the end of every client meeting. And that's for one big reason, right? communicates to your clients that you intend this to be a lasting relationship. It communicates that you are not just going to enroll them, collect your commission, and run off into the desert. It really speaks to your clients and speaks to the level of commitment and care you might provide for them. To schedule that every meeting, right? So just like when you go to the dentist or you go to your doctor and schedule your physical or your next cleaning, visiting your health insurance agent, talking to your health insurance agent can and should feel a lot the same, right? We're going to do your plan checkup in 6 months from now. And then in 6 months again, we'll enroll you in a different plan. Really builds that, sets an expectation for an ongoing relationship. But if you didn't do that in the fall, the next best time to set that appointment is today, or as reasonably soon as possible. So if you don't already have those follow-ups, there's a few things you could try here. You could try a voicemail cadence, and one of the there's a lot of different thoughts and thinking about what that cadence might look like. But one common theme that you see in a lot of sales circles is this idea, the 2-2-3-3-3-4-4 basis. What this does for you, if you commit to it, is it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points of contact, and the numbers here stand for how many days you'd wait in between each call to try and get a hold of your client. So early on in that process, you're waiting 2 days, right? Ms. Smith, I'd like to talk to you about your coverage. Can we schedule some time soon? 2 days go by. Ms. Smith, I'd like to talk to you about your coverage. Can we schedule some time soon? And then slowly peter that out. And golly, after the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th time, you might try making that follow-up. You've got the message either way, whether they're interested in scheduling that call with you or they're not. If that feels a little too intrusive for you, or you can't raise your clients that way, everybody has an email address. You can always try email. We'll provide some strategies for you that here. And snail mail actually is an underrated but very effective option here for you, because everybody loves getting a personalized letter in the mail here, right? Sure, we all get bills and nobody wants to open bills, but if I see a handwritten envelope from someone I know and trust, i.e. my insurance agent, in my inbox, that has some power. That might be something I want to open. To help you get the follow-up at the meeting though, or when you're scheduling that, I would always encourage you to show the full menu of the products you support. And here's the reason why. Every restaurant, when you go in, the waiter doesn't just look at you and go, hey, what do you want, right? Every restaurant has that full menu for to look at, and you, the customer, are free to choose whatever you like from that menu. The waiter doesn't sit there and recite the whole thing to you from memory, because there's a lot of danger in that. They could forget something, they could misspeak. The customer is none the wiser, doesn't know what options are available for them, and the business could lose out on, that potential revenue from a dish with better margins for them. So the customer is less satisfied, or not as satisfied as they could be if the waiter misspeaks or forgets. And again, on the restaurant's end, they might have lost some margins there. So always encourage you to show the full menu, gives you a chance to talk about everything you offer. And whether you have a menu or not, that could be a physical menu, or it could be a showcase of the flyers and products and things that you do support. You might have leave behinds here that you tuck in with your enrollment kits at your follow-up meetings here. Something that looks like this: your chance of being hospitalized more than doubles when you turn 65. When you're 65 to 84, that hospital stay is about 5 days long. The mean cost per stay is $14,500. How are you going to pay for that hospital care? And show them how easy it is to set up that plan. And again, we can customize something like this for you here as well. And what flyers like this do, or the literal, physical menu of for these health products, these supplemental products, these travel products, so on and so forth, it really shows your clients everything you do. You're not just a health insurance agent, you are a solution provider. And here's all the solutions I have that I can help you with. So do you currently use a menu? And if so, how does it work for you? If not, what are some benefits you see you might see from using a menu? Would be curious to hear your thoughts here in the chat as well. Sorry, big ice cube. So yeah, one of the benefits there is that it does show your clients everything that you offer, so they have an opportunity to order that product, so to speak, or at least to ask questions about that product, so to speak. And there's all kinds of, thoughts and theories about how you format that menu. Some people just have like a Word document where it's just like a little list of all the carriers and products I support with maybe some carrier logos on it. Some people put a lot of thought into it. It's this like really glossy, like permanent laminated thing. That's an option too. Lots of different ways you can put that together. Happy to help you with that should you be interested. Another thing you could do is snail mail. Remember, we talked a bit ago, like I always find joy in opening any mail that's addressed to me that's not a bill. Your clients will too. So maybe you do write them a little note, but with that little note, maybe you have some information about a product here as well. So this becomes really easy to do. If I add a little note, it says, Miss Smith, lots of my clients are adding this to offset their hospital costs. Call me if you'd like to learn more, John, and here's my contact number. Your clients are going to be impressed that you sent something handwritten to them, right? No one really gets anything handwritten. It's all form letters and things like that now. But just slapping a sticky note on there, giving them a little bit of thought about what could be a good fit for them, inviting that conversation in could be a great way to spur that follow-up conversation we've been talking about here. We also know, though, that there's sometimes you just can't connect. You can't raise them by email. You can't raise them by voicemail. You can't connect in person. So there's other ways you can kind of approximate the follow-up here too. We do have some voicemail scripts available that you might be interested in using, where you say, hi, Mr. Smith, this is John Agent. Now that January 1 or March 1 or so on and so forth has arrived, your new Medicare plan is now in effect, or your new under 65 plan is in effect. Here's a few things to remember. I'm going to highlight this benefit again, right, that you chose, and here's the reasons why you chose it. I want to show you how to use it. And I also want to mention that there's a first diagnosis cancer benefit that can be added to your benefit package here. Even though your plan covers a lot of your medical costs, this benefit can address your non-medical costs. Let me know if you'd like to learn more. So you can vary that voicemail app as you work through that cadence. You can do the same thing in email as well, for that matter. Remember your value-added benefit there in the subject line. So remember your post-discharge care, remember your companion care, whatever the case might be, and highlight the benefit. Use a similar structure. Hi, Mr. Smith, you enrolled in this plan. We thought it was a great fit because of XYZ benefit. Also, there's this additional, benefit or this additional product we can talk about to help offset some of the costs you might have on that core medical plan. We've got a few more scripts like that you might be able to use here too. Just let me know in the chat if you're interested. We promised 45 minutes here, so I'm going to let you out of this one about talking about what other strategies could be helpful in securing a follow-up, though would be happy for you to share anything here in the chat. As we work toward our last few moments here together, and we get done with the day, what I would love to hear from you though is what are some things that you liked about today's session, and what do you need to hear more of? Was this a good crash course? Did you not like anything about it? Is there any other additional information you need to help make a great decision about how to structure your first quarter follow-ups? Would love to see that here in the chat here as well. I'll give you a brief moment or so to type that in. Thank you for the kind words. I do see that some of you would like some more product deep dives, right? I kept talking about, depending on the carrier you choose, if you like those product deep dives, I invite you to reach out to your account manager here at Action Benefits. They're happy to walk through a side-by-side comparison of what all these products and the carriers that we offer, and help you find the right fit for the client you might have in mind for those products. Or you can talk to me too. I know stuff too. But your account managers, I know you and your business quite well, better than I would at least. So I would encourage those conversations too. But all that said, if you need a customized copy of any of the leave behinds we talked about today, like a hospital indemnity flyer or a cancer plan flyer, happy to work with you and make something that's branded to you and work for you as well. Same thing with the worksheets. If you want to show what the benefits might look like on the hospital indemnity plan compared to the Medicare Advantage plan, just let me know at learning@actionbenefits.com. Or if you'd like additional voicemail scripts or email scripts and additional tips for marketing these products, happy to provide a booklet to you here as well with some things we've compiled over the years. All that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time and attention here today. It's not always easy to take 40 or 5 minutes or so out of your day to spend some time with me, but do appreciate every time that you do. You can always get in touch with Action Benefits on LinkedIn at the Action Benefits Company. You can email me and or Chelsea at learning@actionbenefits.com, or find our individual team at individual@actionbenefits.com, or reach out to us at our main line at 248-356-8585. Just under time here. You got about 3 minutes to spare. Happy to stick around for any questions that you might have. But if you must leave, I do wish you the best day here as we go forward in this suddenly chilly weather again.